All right, hey guys, I just wanted to do a little video and hopefully pay it forward for all the people that made the videos about the EGR valves on these Jeep JKs. No joke, it is a giant pain in the butt, and if it hadn't been for the folks that had made the videos, I think I would have been struggling real bad, even more than I already was. But there was a couple things that I found by doing this job and finally getting this one out, that a few little tips that I came across that I thought, if I can help anybody else out in the future that's trying to do this same job, you know, it'd be worth making a little video for. So as you can see, this is the old unit that came out. This is a CarQuest one, about $100 to do this job. Honestly, about for me it was an evening and then a morning to get this thing done, because it was just so tough with the auto trans fluid stick or dipstick being right behind this unit. And there's a lot of other videos and demonstrations out there that show exactly what I'm talking about here, but really the way that dipstick sits is about right here. So it's such a shallow little distance for this back bolt here. You cannot get a regular size socket on the back of this without getting into that stick. And I tried a bunch of different ways to bend it out of the way, either bend it forward or back so I could maybe get something in there. But inevitably, the only thing I could really do is get one of these little shorties on there. And that's a 10 mil bolt, if you haven't figured that one out yet. But initially when I was getting this all taken apart, I used this just a standard little shorty 10 mil, no ratcheting. And like other people had said in some posts, these two nuts here that go to the back of the block are insanely tight. For whatever reason, they are torqued down like crazy, and as soon as you try and reach back here, you're gonna find out really quick that there is hardly any room to get any throw on a wrench at all. And you can see here, really in the way this is gonna sit as you're looking at it is about like that, with the firewall about right here. So you have to try and weasel your way in there with this wrench and get on, you know, and get a good bite on this bolt. And do your best to break it loose without stripping it. And that was a huge challenge, was not being able to see this because it's blind. It's about like that. So you have to try and feel your way in there and hope you've got that wrench head seated all the way on that bolt so you're not stripping it. But as you can see, even on the marks on what I've got here for the one that I took out, the way that this bolt sits, the way this was cast, even at this angle, that wrench basically dead ends on that part of the casting of here. So as you are trying to break this loose and come left, it's going to lift your wrench. And what I found, what I had to do was come up from the bottom and get this wrench at about 90 degrees. And I think I actually did it this way so that the angle was pointing back towards the front axle, and just basically 2 fingers trying to pull this and break it loose. And my goodness, it was a battle, and it was so frustrating. So eventually I was able to get this broke loose. And one of the other good tips that I saw in some videos is that there's not a lot of room, but once this is removed, or you know, the front plate is removed here for the tube that goes up for the EGR, and you remove this bottom one, you can pivot off of this hole here. So with my wrench on, pulling, trying to get it to break loose, pushing on the top seemed to help a little bit. One of the guys I watched, he said that it broke loose right away. That was not my case. You know, my Jeep's a 2009, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the first time it's ever been changed. So to get that to actually break loose took a ton of effort. Yeah, I really wish there was some better design, or if there was some way to really get in there with a different wrench, but ultimately that's what I had at the time. So I got the part and decided that hopefully going back in was going to be easier than taking out. So I ended up going to Harbor Freight and got these little dudes, just a little ratcheting shorty in a 10 mil, and I wish I would have had this from the very beginning. That was a game changer and made life so much easier, especially when I was putting this back in. And again, you're basically doing this blind, because it's gonna sit about like that, and even kind of at a little bit of an angle, so you have to weasel that wrench up in there and just feel, and you can't hardly even get your fingers on there to hand tighten this. So having the ratcheting wrench was really nice, and it's just a microscopic little bit of a throw each time that you do it, but you can get 1 or 2 ratchets before you max out. So yeah, and then one of the other things I struggled with was this stupid clip up here. If you were needing a reference of what this looks like, on the Jeep JKs, at least I can speak to that, open up the panel on your back door, on your, if you have an unlimited, open up that back panel, and that little clip to undo your door, to remove that, is the same thing as this. So it's a gate that you have to push, and then there's a little detent press that you have to do on the backside. Getting your fingers up there to do this was a pain, and some guys just did it real quick, but it took me a while. And I found on this as well, if you can pull this as far down as you can, with the length of the cable that it'll let you get it as far down, and then you can kind of put your finger up here and try and push and pull, like as you push down on that detent, push on that and pull at the same time. It is a pain. It genuinely was a lot easier going back in and getting that to snap in, but getting it disconnected was also a pain, as much as this guy was about a pain. But really, once you've got this off, your life is a whole lot easier. And actually, this is the bolt that actually goes here, so if anyone catches that, but the other one, I actually lost it, so I'm just using that one as a reference. Same size nut head there, but just the length of this one is actually going to be long enough to come out the back side here. So, but I was just using this one as a reference for the position here. But as you get this started, going back in, you know, I followed the instructions from other folks, just saying do it a little bit at a time on each one of these, so that you're pulling in. And that little gasket that I had here, I actually took a file and kind of cleaned it up a little bit and took the burr away from it, so that it wasn't fighting these bolts going in as I was trying to get it back into the block, and it made things easier too. So yeah, anyways, not the worst job in the world. I mean, if I could get it done, I would say most anybody could get it done. But yeah, these are the 2 tools that you're gonna need for sure, and something I really wish I would have thought of before, and saw some suggestions from some guys where you can use multiple wrenches to gain leverage here. It's one of those, I felt really silly that I didn't do it before, but it made life a whole lot easier to try and get some leverage on these, especially with these little short ones. You know, when I was breaking it loose with this guy, it was really just 2 fingers is all you could get on here, and there just wasn't hardly any leverage there. So stacking up these wrenches and getting a good bite made life a whole lot easier, and especially tightening, there was plenty of room there. Breaking loose, I mean, even just being able to pull like that would have made my life easier, and I really wish I would have thought of that, or had seen that suggestion earlier. But so anyways, guys, I hope that helps, and good luck to anybody else that's going to be fighting with one of these little buggers. Yeah, once this is out, your life is a whole lot easier, so good luck out there.